I welcome you to the CTE conference. These are the opening slides that they talk about. We've got over 1,100 attendees here, 300 sessions, and everything else. This is the sponsors that they have. Thank you, my friend. And that'll help us to give us some ideas. So these are the opening ones. Thank you. This is who I am. I've spent more than 40 years, actually it's closer to 50 years in the automotive industry. I'm a retired executive. My job for the last 30 years were to go into failing businesses and turn them around, mainly in automotive and emergency medicine. I've been teaching since 1979. I am also a published author. I wrote a book in 2019 and published it, actually July 4th, 2019. This book talks about my experience as an executive and some of the things that I've recognized as issues within businesses. And this occurs across any of them as far as morale. So it doesn't matter whether you're public, private, governmental, you're always going to have morale issues. The only thing I'm going to recommend on here is if you guys are interested, it's a very easy read. There's 5 keys. 3 of these keys I want to bring up today because that's how important they are. The first chapter on this is communication. We all understand the importance of communication. That's the #1 failure in morale. So no matter how well we think we communicate, we can always do it better. The second one I want to bring up about that is one of the chapters talk about employees. Are employees tools or are they assets? Well, if you think of them as a tool, that means it's disposable. So what happens to the money that we've invested to train employees? The key is they're an asset. We don't throw away assets. We nurture them and we make them grow. That's another key. Third key, consistency. If you're not consistent within your organization and the procedures that you do, you will not be consistent externally. And let me tell you, right now, that is a key to what we see in education. Next one. These are the objectives we're going to look at. We're going to talk about what is CTE. We're going to define what STEM is. I love teaching what I do because I do get to teach STEM. I am a scientist by nature, and I love having that background. We're going to talk about quality instructors. We're going to talk about excellence in curriculum and programming, and we're going to talk about the future of CTE. You guys are going to meet the team that runs my program. My kids run this program. It's a unique way of doing it. It gets buy-in, and let me tell you, we can get greater success. This is called the 1-2-7 rule. This was a study done many years ago. Everyone know a difference. My kids know this all the time. What's the difference between a job and a career? Anyone? What?
A job you go to just to go and get paid, show up, and a career is something that you love to do.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. You know what job stands for? Just over broke. That's what you do at McDonald's, all those. Are you ever going to become a leader at minimum wage? No, a career is going to give you this. I want you to see for every 10 careers, not jobs, careers. For every 10 of them out there, 1 requires an advanced degree, 2 require a bachelor's degree, 7 of them require either a certificate or a diploma upon completion of an individual demonstrating skills, knowledge in a given area. This is called CTE. What does that mean? Next one. This is what it is. I stand for the 7. I proudly wear this every day at school. Why? 70% of our kids are going to be in this career. This is the career path. This is what CTE is. So you want to know what CTE is? It's 70% of the jobs out there. So if you do not understand the importance of what CTE is and into the educational system, you need to look at that. According to the U.S. Bureau of Census, it reports only 27% of college graduates work in the area of their degree fields. 70% of all jobs are CTE related, the Rule 127. So we need to understand the importance of this and why it is. Fewer schools offer CTE classes under 10th grade. Our feeder schools use nothing for CTE. When they come into our programs and they have multiple CTE programs to choose from in their sophomore years, they have no clue what to do. Back when I was a kid in junior high, we took these classes so we knew what we needed to do. We as an educational system have failed them. We don't prepare them for work. We've concentrated strictly for academics. And I am here to prove to you today that CTE is also academic. Students cannot explore what they want to do in life. When we went to an academy model at our school. The problem with this is we have our freshmen come in. They're not in any academy. Sophomores have to make that choice. They have to make their choice in November. Half of the kids, half of the freshmen that come in, know what CTE is in the first semester because they study it. In the second semester, because in our district they have to take health. So they do their freshman orientation and health, and they reverse them. So come November, when the kids are making a choice, half of these kids don't even know what any of the CTE programs are, any interest in it, or know what to do. So what are we doing? We're forcing them to make a cold decision. Then we lock them into it, and we say, if you take this, you can't change that out of that academy. You have to stay in that pathway. Is this a setup for success? No. Look at the students that are being enrolled. Are they willing to be enrolled into this class? In the last 3 years, I've finally gotten where most of my students want to be in here. That makes a difference. That's going to get industry involved with your programs. That's going to make your program a success. CTE is based on business. It's just like an employment. If you don't run your CTE class as a business, you're failing your students. Our job is to prepare them for the real world. Next one. STEM. Everyone know what STEM stands for? I love this. 4 letters. Anyone? Science, technology, engineering, math. This, I'm going to get you like my kids. This is not a one-way conversation when I teach. Speak up, let's get involved. I love this. What is it? CTE may or may not be STEM. According to STEM, it is a U.S. education definition. To be STEM, you have to teach all 4. We have science teachers say, hey, I'm STEM. No, you're not. You teach one aspect of it. I love this. I bring my science, I bring my engineering. My kids, and you will be able to talk to them in a little bit and ask them, they will be doing math required as engineers. Why? Because that's what they're required to do. That's what I love about this. Many high demand areas are STEM fields. We look at automotive, healthcare, IT, construction, aerospace. We can go on and on and on. If you're teaching one of these areas, you are not taking advantage of your STEM education. You are failing your students. Give them that. Most of our students don't understand why they need to learn science, don't understand why we learn history, don't understand why we don't learn math. Why? Because they don't have proper correlation to why they need to know it. This gives it to them. STEM teaches critical thinking, problem solving. That's our #1 drive. It drives innovation and new technology, and that's what we can see. Science, this gives you, and this is in my classroom, I built this my first year up there. This gives you an idea. When we talk about science, what are we looking at? These are just some examples of what we use in automotive. Think about the industry you're in. How do they do it? Next one. Technology. Look at how we look at technology. My students learn as much about computers, hardware, and software as any other IT tech. I tell them, if you come out of here and you pay attention, you can repair any computer. Why? Because it's the same. Do you think the computer that is on your car is any different than the computer that's in this building, the one that we're using here? No, they work the same. Thing is, we have to deal with hardware because they fail. Why? We have vibration, heat, moisture, all kills electronics. Next one. Engineering. If you can't teach, when you look at what we do in CTE, especially in automotive and construction, we teach 90% of what we do. Why? It's to fix what's inside the box. What happens for the 10% of the problems that come outside of that box? How do you teach them to do that? You have to teach them how the box is constructed. How do we do that? Engineering. They need to understand physics. They need to understand how things work scientifically. That's an important thing that we need to understand. That's what makes it good. Next one. Mathematics. In automotive, we look at algebra, geometry, Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's law, Pascal's law. If you don't know what those last three are, those are physical laws that relate to hydraulics, electricity, and any type of fluids that we deal with. If you don't understand those and the mathematics behind it, you have a problem. Let me ask everyone here, and all my kids hear this all the time, multiple times. What is the basic language of science, anyone? Math. Most of the time people say Latin. Why? Because it's all in Latin. It's not. Math. Math is theoretical. How do we prove science theoretically? Through math. Understand that. Now we can turn these kids into understanding basic academics. But we have to incorporate this into our programs. Next one. This is what we have done and we still do. Core academics is thought of, this is math, science, everything else. Well, that's good. Where do you think that stuff the kids learn is? I had the privilege of teaching 7 years at Midwestern University. It's one of our medical schools. I taught in the DOMPA program. I taught cardiac electrophysiology. Do you know how they teach these students? These are physicians. Binge, purge, binge, purge. We start on one thing, then they move on to a next one. They may not come back to this subject for 6 terms. Do they remember it? No. Building blocks. That's what CTE does. That's the difference with this. We're not teaching them theory alone. We're teaching them how does it apply. Next one. This one is going to cause a lot of grief with a lot of people, but I would put that, if I could have put that up in 92 font up there, I would have done it. Education is not a business. That is the biggest fallacy we have. And we need to start changing. If you do not look at charter schools, private schools, and for crying out loud, the ESA, where's that money coming from? Public education. If you do not think that we are in a business world today in education, you better rethink, because in 10 years, you're going to be without a job, you're going to be without a district. Can any of us look at the Isaac School District right now? What happened to them? And guess what? They live by this. We're education, we're not business. You are. Start acting like it. Let people like me in the industry come in and teach you. We need to listen to CTE. They are our specialists. If we're going to build a program, how can you build a program if you don't know anything about it? Hire the people that you're going to do and let them do their jobs. Find the people who are passionate about it. That's what we need to do. We need to streamline and become efficient to become competitive. Do you know our government was set up not to be responsive quickly? Did anyone know that historically? Our founding fathers did that. And the reason I bring that up is 250 from last week. There's a whole lot of history out there. Why was that done? So that tyrants couldn't take over our society easily. Well, that filtered down into every government agency in the world. However, I'm going to tell you, in education, we need to change. Because we can't compete if it takes us 7 years to get something in. And I'm going to talk about the TSA later here in a minute when we get to it. I want you to think about this. Everyone's a customer. If you remember that, you guys have all called the phone company, APS, SRP, whoever your electrical power. You talk to them on one day, next day you call them, you got a different answer. Why? Consistency. Is that what we have in education? Absolutely. Does that make people want to come back and use this again and again? What is the basic idea of science? Repetitiveness. Why do we design experiments so that we can repeat and prove that it works? We do the same thing in business. That's the science behind it. Not every person can determine qualifications in a specialized area. We also have to understand people like us in automotive, we're going to be able to understand multiple disciplines because we're dealing with mechanical needs. Great leaders and managers should understand the interaction in the culture of the organization. They may not understand the technical aspect. This is what sets your leadership apart. A little bit ago, short time ago, actually a long time ago, I changed my email signature. I thought of a new phrase and I put it on, and I love this phrase. If you lead from your office, you fail those you lead. I hope you all think about that, because it's true. Leadership doesn't come from an office. Leadership comes from being involved and being out there. That applies to business, that applies to education. Next one. CTE instructors. Hiring managers may not have any knowledge whatsoever of a specialized area. They're not going to. What they're going to know is how that organization interacts. Does that person fit into that interaction? Do they fit into that culture? That's what they're looking at. Are they going to be able to determine whether that guy's an expert? No. And they can be BS'd very easily. Arizona is ranked in 50th in education in Arizona, according to the Arizona Mirror. August 13th, 2025, a judgment was given by the U.S. District Court to the state legislature, saying they are $3.2 billion underfunding education for facilities. What did our Senate president say to that? We're not going to let the judiciary tell us what to do. Think that's a problem? Yes. That's not what our forefathers had in this. So what does that tell you about what people think in Arizona about education? We have a problem, and we need to make people be aware of it. CTE instructors is not a 9-month job. My contract is 9 months. Do I work 9 months? Nope. I'm lucky if I can work 12 months. Right now, if there were 13, that would be me. Every one of you, in understanding where we're at in our business, we need to be working in it. I spend my time off working at a dealership. Why? I now know, first of all, what the current information is for the industry, what the current expectation is. I also build up those partnerships. In 3 years, we have placed 63 kids in the work environment. 63. That wasn't done by guess. It was done by partnerships and people understanding what we're doing and how we do it. Next one. Experience. Very often it is difficult to determine CTE experience. Like I said, we're cross-discipline. I know automotive. I also know machining. Why? Because I was a machinist. I built engines, so that means I have to know something about that. I also know how to build things. We also have multiple disciplines using the same things. For example, we can use micrometers. We use in automotive, aviation, machining, construction, research, engineering, goes on and on and on. Does that mean we have the ability to determine who is what in these areas? Absolutely. Absolutely. Typically, people who are in these areas, they're lifetime learners. They're not going to stop learning. If you have someone who takes the summer off, that's fine. Are they really a lifetime learner, and do they really want to become good when they're dealing? When we're dealing with CTE, everything changes, just like business, just like education. Every day changes. So let's make it better. Next one. What's the character we're looking for in the CTE instructor? They've got to be a manager and be able to determine what that is and how to do it. They have to communicate very, very well. They have to articulate accurately, concise. What's the best thing about a good leader? They admit when they screw up. Do we teach that in leadership? I've been teaching college leadership for 20 years, and we still, most of my colleagues do not even get into that. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. My kids will tell you, I make a whole bunch of them, but I admit to it, and then we go up and fix it. The difference is, every time you point your finger at someone, guess what? 3 are pointing back at you. Remember that. How do we fit in the culture of the organization? Are we dedicated to our mission of the students? If you're not dedicated to the mission of the students, put them above everything, and you're putting your own personal objectives there, You need to change what you're doing. Next. Finding industry's instructors. This is the hardest part we've got. If I mentioned that CTE instructors, 70% of the jobs out there are a certificate or a diploma, is that academics? Is that what we're looking for in school? No. Most of these guys don't have an associate's degree. Or if they have an associate's, it's an occupational associate's, which most people don't even recognize. Technicians of all kinds, plumbers, electricians, HVAC, truck drivers, physicians, lawyers. They go to school to learn professional skills. The average technician will be making between $80,000 and $120,000 in the shop. Doesn't have an associate's. In our district, you know what we start them at? $54,000. Tell me why I can't get an instructor out of the industry. We have to change the way we look at CTE, and not just from one aspect, from all aspects. We have to change what we're doing. Managers are paid on commission. Directors are paid off of commission of the managers. Do you see how this moves up? Our director at the dealership, our parts director, makes about $250,000 a year. When he retires, is he going to come to work for $54,000 a year? No. But don't we need those type of people and that knowledge and that skill? But we can't get it. Next one. When we look at instructors and we're finding out what we're doing, here's what we need to do. We need to put together a whole point of how this works. We have specialized documentation. We have to put together curriculum documentation, lab calendars, advisory boards, CTSO, purchasing, so on and so forth. It goes on and on and on. How many of you know how any of these documents fit and work together and why we have them? Well, I've been at TGB for 7 years until this last year, where I had the privilege to sit on all 4 of the committees for automotive. Did I not understand how this worked? And that helped me to do what we did next. Go on. We need to have graduation. Again, I talked about 63 students placed. Is that important to keep track of? Absolutely. We're looking at science. We're looking at proof. We're looking at data. This is how we prove. This is what we're looking for. I need to have annual recertification. Okay, not annual most of the time. ASC requires recertification every 5 years. All right? Where's that money come from? My pocket. The district doesn't pay me for it. In order, and I'll talk about it in a minute, we are getting ASE accredited this year. I spent this whole last year doing it, and I'm going to address what that means, how that means, and why. But I also have to have all these certifications. I've spent $400 out of my own pocket in the last 2 months to get the certifications required to do this. Does this benefit me? No. How many people are going to do that? How many of you would do that? We put money into our classrooms already. We're going to do it if we need to do this. This is the thing. Industry partners, I cannot stress enough. You need them. How do we develop them? You don't develop them by sitting in a classroom not seeing them. Every one of our industry partners that we have, I see at least once every quarter. Next one. Here's the documents that we deal with. Technical standards, program lengths, blueprint, scope sequence, instructional framework, task analysis, terminology. You're going to see where these can be found on every one of these. This was the key for me this year. I understood where this came. Next one. What's the technical standards? Our technical standards are driven by the industry. In automotive, it's simple. ASE, who is the only automotive certification, we use their standards. All right? Their standards are different. They're task-based. How do we make this better? Why do we make it better? This is what we need to understand, because not all of them are that way. Next one. If you look at them, here's the ADE website. This is our technical standards for automotive. This is what I deal with. If you see all these, we have 9 main standards, and up to, there's 270 of these, by the way, that we have to meet. How do we do that in a 2-year, 3-year program? Can we do it? Yes. There's ways, and I found out. I'm not going a lot deep in on all this, but I want you guys to know it. If you have questions, I can help you no matter what you teach. I understand how this works now. Next one. This is how our program links are. This is done off of the Carnegie unit. Anyone not know what the Carnegie units are? They come out of the Perkins grant. All right, it's determined. If you look at this and you break down whatever you want, you're going, whichever program you're in, you're going to see how many Carnegie units it requires for Perkins grant funding. Automotive technology, 3 units. Basically, 3 years. Is that oversimplified? Yes. But we need to have some sort of reference. So we need a 3-year program here. We're one of 6 programs that have 3-year programs. Next. Once we have this, now we have to look at the TSA. Here's our problem with TSA. If you guys, have any of you sat on your TSA committee to write questions? I should see more hands next time I see you guys. That is the most critical thing you can do. Because here's the problem with it. When you add a question, how long does that question take to get into the actual test? Anyone know? 3 years. In automotive, by the time that question gets into our test bank and usable, what's it at? Obsolete. We need to look at other things. ASE has student tests. Why can't we use those? They're standardized. And they're up to date. They're current. There are options. We have to work with ADE to explore these options and to look at them. They need standardization. There's ways to solve these problems. Our jobs as managers and leaders is to solve a problem, not say it can't be done. Ask my kids. They come to me and say, what do I do? And I tell them, go solve the problem. That's your job. That's real life. Everyone should sit on these committees. Everyone. This is the one to start on. Because I'll tell you what, I've done it twice now. Open my eyes. Next one. Standards. Scope and sequence and blueprint. Why do we do this? Well, this was what took me forever to figure out how this worked. We have to remember, we have for ADE, how long is our semesters days-wise? 190. We give it 180, 180. We give it 160 when we plan, so we have 20 days off. Does that make sense to everyone? That's where we're coming in. So we got it. How do we do that with all the hours? And we have to figure it out. The blueprint helps us to determine that. Bring up the next one with the blueprint. This blueprint tells us, in domain 1, we're going to have this percent, this percent. Let me tell you, I had to rewrite my whole program this year for ASE. This last year, I've spent close to 800 hours. This is our whole program now. Between all these documents, I spent about 800 hours doing it. The biggest problem with this was this one right here, getting the math right. Once I got the math right, everything else fell in. Do you know, no one, when I started 7 years ago, told me about that. No one made me understand how important this is. We need to look at that. This is our key. This is why it works. Next one. We then come up with, and you'll see the scope and sequence on the CTE consortium. I use the same one. I really do. Why? It's simple. I just take the consortium label off and I put PXU on it. Why? They don't care. I'm sure your district won't. But once you figure this out and you get it right, do it. When we set at the blueprint, we had to make sure all those days matched and everything. Oh, and by the way, this year, because we only had 2 days to do this, yeah, automotive made a mistake. In fact, it was brought up to me. They said, hey, that math didn't add up. Went back, yep, you're right, it didn't add up. We screwed it up. But when I did mine, I found it. But this helps us. Next one. Structural framework. This gives us, for each one, what we're going to do. Why is that important? Because now you have a plan. How many of you, when you came out of industry, if you came out of industry, your first year, do you remember how overwhelming this was? Would this have made it easier for you to understand and maybe that's some of the things that you do? But guess what? When you do that, now you got it set. And updating it's easy because ASE only updates their standards every 3 years. So I don't have to do it every year. Once you got it made. Next. Terminology. Our terminology, the way we did the terminology is if it was in the standards words, we can use them. So if your standard uses a certain term, that's the word you use. My question to you is that a realistic approach for what we do? Probably not. But that's the way it's set up. Now knowing this weakness, what does that mean? I know a way to work with ADE and make other suggestions. Here's the advantage of all of us working together. You guys sitting on these committees are important. Extremely important. Next one. Interpretation. We need to know what our district requires. I will tell you, our district did not require us to do domain 4. Now that I've got ASC, guess what? I have to do it. So what we do is going to be dictated not only by industry, but by district and by state. And sometimes they're going to not be aligned on the same page. Always remember, you can always do more, but you can never do less. Next one. Real work environment. Anyone here in automotive? Guys, are you familiar with tech metrics? I will talk to you. They give it to the schools free. It's a DMS, a dealer management system. My kids, and you can ask them questions. We schedule. We do repair orders. These kids have to learn to write. What's our number one problem in automotive that I hear every day at work? Writing. If you cannot articulate why you're doing something, you just did a job for warranty and did it for free because the manufacturer's not going to pay for it. This helps. And let me tell you, Techmetrics, they are looking to help schools. They give it to you for free. Go use it. Make advantage. Is this the only thing? No. Every industry has companies like this. If you're in another area, get involved with your industry. Find out who this is. This is work-based learning at its top. There's nothing better. Next. Industry accreditation, ASE. Okay, so I showed you the one notebook that I ended up doing. This is the other notebook. This is our application to ASE. I started this project in November of last year. We are now submitting our application. They're going to be coming out because they have to do an on-site review of who we are. How do they do that? When we're in class. So by December, we hope to have it. Again, there's about 2,800 pages worth of documentation there. Understand what your industry wants. The reason I never did this before, ASE says 540 hours. Have any of you ever kept track of the true hours you have students? I'm a scientist. You know what I did my first 3 years? Collect data. You know what some of that data was? How many hours do we have the students? We averaged 390 over our 2-year program. How far off of 540 is that? Way off. Well, they say 540 hours. They say, why don't you do it? 200 hours short. You're kidding me, right? Well, in October of last year, I met with the vice president of ASE. He says, it doesn't work that way. I says, what do you mean it doesn't work that way? He says, it's not a day for day or hour for hour. So, what the hell do you mean? What does that mean? He says, do you go to school for 180 days a year? Yep. Is your program 3 years long? Yep. How many days is that? 540. He says, your program matches it. We know that there's going to be hours out of that. They never say that. How many of your industry certifications could have that same misconception? You may be eligible to have an industry standard and be missing it. My suggestion to you is open up dialogue and find out. Because more of these that we have, the better it is. Next one. We need to have buy-in. How do we get buy-in into this? Well, you're going to hear from my kids. My kids run this program. Fernando will tell you, he came out. Who'd you talk to when you came out? Students. Not me. It's their program. I guide. We have a shop manager, assistant shop manager, we have class foremans, lead techs. They run them all. You're going to be introduced to the ones that ran the program this last year and the ones that are going to be running it this next year. We've been doing this for 4 years. How do I get 63 kids placed? This is how. It's up to them. Their grade is determined on whether their own classmates are doing their work. Do you get students to listen to you when you're yelling at them, hey, I need this work, I need this work, I need this work? Do they do it? Guess what happens when they yell at them? Amazingly, it gets done. Wow, so why should we kill ourselves? Let them do it. It's their job, they learn. This is what this is about, this is where it goes. Next one. This comes down to the last part of what I'm going to talk about. Where is CTE in the future of Arizona? Your guess is as good as mine. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Unless our districts and our boards start to understand CTE is not academics. It's more than that. I'll tell you, CTE in Arizona is not on a path of success. It will go down. We need people to understand. You want quality instructors? Guess what? Put a pay scale together for CTE. This, and you guys are welcome to see this, this is where my education comes from. Yes, in 2010 I realized I needed to go back. So I went back to school. I have masters and I have bachelors now. Most of my colleagues don't. The majority of what happens is right here, certificates from industry. We need to equate this on a pay scale that we do that one piece of paper, that one degree. If we don't, we're not going to live as CTE. Again, open up conversations with your industry. See what they mean by these and go from there. Next one. All right, here is where I'm going to step out. I'm going to let my kids introduce themselves and they are going to go from here. You're going to take a few minutes and then you guys can ask some questions. T, are you starting this off? There you go. I got that now. Thank you, my friend. Hey, you got any AAA batteries around here? Find out. Thank you.
Morning, everyone.
That was it again. Okay. My name is Tatiana. I'm the shop manager at Trevor Browne High School, and these are our student statements, which we will be reading. This program has been an amazing opportunity to see what the automotive industry is about and what it means to be a leader. It has allowed me to learn a trade skill while also obtaining certifications, training, and experience. As a shop manager, I've come across many issues varying from minor matters to more serious ones. When it becomes a program issue, I come together with my leads to discuss how we can implement solutions across the program to ensure no class goes unseen. Being in this program has given me the proper training and certifications as a mechanic, which has allowed me to stand out as an applicant for employment. This program not only gives us credit to graduate, but also provides an opportunity for our future careers. Through this program, I visited dealerships, attended conferences, and even trade schools.
My name is Jennifer. I am the assistant shop manager of the program, and I have been around automotive basically most of my life thanks to my father. He has taught me everything that I know, and joining this program has helped me grow by teaching me leadership, teamwork, and automotive skills. Supportive environments where I could learn from my mistakes. Through leadership experience, I learned not everyone will always agree with you or respect you, but effective communication and understanding can help overcome challenges. The program also provides valuable opportunities such as field trips to UTI, drag races, and networking with professionals. Helping students prepare for careers in the automotive industry. Overall, it offers skills, achievements, and experiences that can benefit students both in automotive careers and in life.
Okay, as they go on, let me tell you. This is our 4th year of doing this student leadership. This by far, each year has progressed more and more. This by far has turned out to be the best group of leaders working together. They decided to give you an idea that came to me. They said, we were having problems with students. They said, can we put together an HR manager? I don't care what you do. They voted on it, they put together an HR manager to take care of all the problems. Tell me that's not work-based learning.
All right, my name is Adriel Esparza, and I am the senior foreman at Trevor G. Browne. This program has helped me a lot, and it's had such a huge impact on my life and as a person to grow. So, the impact on my personal and professional growth by teaching me leadership, responsibility, and the skills needed to become a diesel technician. It helped our team succeed by encouraging technicians to complete their certifications while providing valuable training, including ASC, Ford, OSHA safety, and elected certifications. Through hands-on experience working on live vehicles, online training, and exposure to different work environments, I gained practical skills and confidence. Overall, the program prepared me for future career opportunities as a technician at dealerships or independent repair shops. Thank you.
Give him the mic.
Hello everyone, I'm Gabriel Jimenez. This program has helped me become a strong leader, improve my automotive repair skills, and prepare myself for a career in the automotive industry. Through leadership experience, I learned how to guide others and take on more responsibility. The program also provided valuable certifications, hands-on learning, and field trips that expanded my knowledge and career opportunities. Overall, it has given me the confidence to work independently and pursue a successful career in the automotive industry. Thank you.
Now, these are the 4 that led last year's program. These 2 are the ones that are going to be running the program for this upcoming year.
Hello, my name is Jesus Bernal. I'm going to be the future shop manager, and I'm honestly really glad and proud about that. This program has helped me grow as a leader by improving communication, teamwork, problem solving, and responsibility. I learned how to handle challenges respectfully, work with others, and gain valuable knowledge about automotive work through hands-on projects and shop experiences. Field trips to places such as Sanderson Ford and UTI gave me a better understanding of careers in the automotive industry and inspired my future goals. Overall, the program has prepared me with leadership skills, technical knowledge, and confidence that will benefit me in both my career and personal life.
Hello and good morning. My name is Logan, and I am the foreman of my sophomore year. This program has helped me discover my future career path by giving me a real-world automotive experience, leadership opportunities, and hands-on technical skills. As a foreman, I learned to lead and motivate others while improving my communication and teamwork. Through activities like rebuilding a V8 engine and visiting Sanderson Ford and UTI, I gained valuable knowledge and confidence in the automotive field. Overall, this program has prepared me for the future opportunities in engineering and automotive careers.
So when you all were determining who was going to be the manager and the roles, how did that go about? Did you do an interview process? And who made the decisions?
I'll let them announce that. What I'm going to tell you is my role was very simple. I chose the manager and assistant manager, and everything else after that came to them.
Did you have them apply for it?
For those two positions?
Yeah.
No. I picked them out the year before. So in their first year, I look at the students that I can tell have the natural lead. And let me tell you, I'll tell you something about Tatiana. T, in her first year, was really, really shy, but I saw something in her. When she started the beginning of this first year, the start of this year, she was shy as anything. Fernando came out in February. Ask him the difference. But I'm going to let them explain. I pick the two leads. After that, they do everything and I guide them. I teach them. Yes, they do interviews, but I'll let them fill you in. That's up to you.
So when me and Tatiana were both picked for the manager position, Demlin had told us that it was our responsibility to choose who was going to be a class foreman for each class. We could choose how many were going to be in each class, and we were going to do interviews like a normal job, and proceeding with each leadership with who's going to be in charge of each class, and then who was going to be in charge of each group in the classroom, like who was in charge of each table in the classroom. Now let Tatiana explain the process.
So during the interview process, it's like a job interview. We did have applicants apply through a Google form, and from there we interviewed each and every applicant, and we decided what type of leadership we wanted in those classrooms. And after we had picked our foreman, which is like right under us, like general managers essentially, we then picked our leads, which, like Jennifer was saying, was essentially who was going to be in charge of the tables in the classrooms. And from there, we would all my foreman and assistant manager and we'd come together for meetings every month to discuss how the program was going, how each class was going, any problems that we had, and how we can fix it across the board and not just for that one classroom, because we are a whole program.
Go ahead.
So are these titles and is this your CTSO, or do you have that on top of it?
No, we use this.
Me to rename.
Yeah, we did not do this as our CTSO. Our CTSO is supposed to be done through Skills USA.
I mean, are they your officers?
They are they are who are listed as officers on the CTSO, correct. But we do not use Skills USA. However, we do fill in for all that for them.
Yeah, because it's still kind of like the same hierarchy.
Yep.
So I'm getting nursing, like I can have a charge. So
Absolutely.
there's a name of different things that are relevant to the program.
Exactly.
You're still technically like your CTSO officer leaders.
Absolutely, and I encourage you to do that. This is where we've been missing the correlation between the CTSOs and the work base. I don't think people understand. There's a way we can incorporate this to make it more realistic. You're absolutely right. DON. Get a DON, get a charge nurse, get all that. It works. Now they're getting real life experience, and when you take them out, they see those positions. So yeah, it works out great. I think you were first.
So you said classes. So you start with basic, each one of you has their own class, or just for Tech 1 and 2?
Okay, Our classes break down, our first year is Auto 1. So we have a first and second semester. So we have Auto 1, Auto 2. In our second year, we take a block class, so they get 2. So the way that the district shows it on paper is that the first class is Auto 3, and the second period is Auto 5. Then it's Auto 4 and Auto 6. I don't do it that way. They got Auto 2 is 2 hours, 2 hours. Yes, it's complex. Yes, it is. That's how we do it. That's part of the creativity we have to do to meet ADE, district, and industry practicality. Does that make sense?
Kinda. I have like basic.
Uh-huh.
So I take basic, and we have next year.
Yep.
And then my third year is a block.
Yep. Your third year's a block?
My third year is a block.
Wow, that's interesting. I'd be interested to talk to you about that.
And then fourth year, they can be classes.
Yeah, see, we do our internship. So most of them are coming back to our internship, and our internship is outside of this. So I teach them welding, which is part of fabricating and other aspects. And we get more into parts and logistics. So they're not learning just automotive, they're learning everything. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Joy, I'm Michelle Martinez.
I knew I recognized you.
I just wanted to piggyback on the CTSO question since I do come from the skills realization.
I was just going to say yes.
Yeah, and everything what you're saying is you're replicating your business and industry. And so in the nursing example, replicating what you turn in for your chapter annual submission, you put president, vice president, but you know who those people are.
Yep.
And then if you want to have your CTSO chapter meetings, but they're more replicative of your industry, that's tying it all together. So it's what he's saying is absolutely acceptable. You're just calling him something different in our forms.
I've learned very well over 7 years how to manipulate rules.
Okay, I don't want to say that, but
It's my job
but
to.
it happens.
Yeah. We have to make them fit what real life is.
Yeah.
Our job, and these kids hear it every day, my job is to get them ready for out there. My classroom is run like a shop. Does that mean it's run like every other classroom? It is the farthest thing from any classroom on the campus. In my first 3 years here, I laid a low profile till I got tenured because I wasn't going to get terminated for it. Fourth year, everyone says, man, you changed. No, I haven't changed. I just more obvious now about it. Ask them, what do you guys call me?
Dwayne?
There.
Yeah.
Why? Have you ever had a conversation about sex with a kid for the first time? What is it? It's funny. I don't want a kid going to the work job and saying, hey, Lori, how are you? What did that just do to our program and us as a reputation? From day one, I want you to come in with respect. I want you to handle it as an adult. We have not used terms Mr. and Mrs. in the work environment since the 1960s. Are we a little bit behind in education? I think so. I want my kids to go out there. Why are these kids hired? They come in and they say, these kids are ready to go. Why are they ready to go? Because they're taught that from day one. And ask them, if they say something wrong, they don't get away with it, do you? There's a lot higher demand. I told everyone, this is TGB, this is TGB Auto. Don't lie to anyone. You meet this standard. Bless you. You meet this standard or you don't do it. Questions? Any other questions you guys got? Anything you ask? What do you think of this program? What do you think about the way it goes? What do you think? Something help you to move forward with your own program to get yourself better? Yes.
Can I give just a few quick examples of how that looks in the classroom when they are assisting their fellow peers or holding them accountable or whatever it is that you do?
So essentially, it will be more of like a foreman thing to enforce it in each classroom to get their work done. We enforce our foreman to enforce the students to get their work done. Whenever their work isn't getting done, Demlin will tell us and we will go out there and tell them, hey, you need to get off your phone and you need to start doing your training and start continue your preparation for your ASE certification.
Take the phone the next step. What did you guys do with the problems with the phone?
Oh.
This was their solution.
So whenever they didn't complete their work, or we had to tell them more than once to complete their work, to catch up, and or stuff was due, we went into either taking away their phones or not allowing to go out into the shop and work on live cars. But sometimes that wouldn't work either, and we would just have to resort to actually having to talk to them and just trying to get them to do their work, because at the end of the day, we can't force them to do anything. That's just up to them, whether if they want to fail the program or actually succeed. We just talk to them and hope they do their work.
Where'd you put the phones?
In the phone lockers.
In the phone lockers.
Yeah, they got a phone locker and locked them up. Okay, who solves this problem? Not me. I'll support them on it, and they stand behind it. They came up with the solutions. They've got the authority to do it, and I'll back every one of them. And I will not allow any of the students to disrespect any one of the leaders. We have had significant issues with that, have we not?
It's the HR development.
Correct.
Probably.
Absolutely.
That was going to be my next question. What does that look like since they're dealing with peer in how they're treated and respected?
So let me explain in two ways. In a work environment, we all know what work environment is. We all understand the HR true rules. In high school, do they have to abide by those rules? The answer is no. So they get to do more than what we would do, so you have to keep a closer eye on that. When T went out and told the kids, clean up the shop, and one of them mouthed back to him, that didn't go over well. They ended up in security. I'm not going to put up with that. I told them, any one of these, and they all know, if they say something, it's as if I said it. So you disrespect them, you just disrespected me. What do you think's going to happen? I don't play with it. So there are things that they address that I will not be in the middle of as long as I'm aware of it, so that I don't get myself into a legal issue. But as long as nothing's been committed as a crime, they take care of what they need to. And you know something, the more they grew into that, the more authority they understood that, the more it helped everyone to come up on the same page. Does that make sense? Yes, I'm being vague for a reason.
I just developed a culture.
Exactly.
Sure, it took some time.
And 4 years. First year was the most interesting year I've ever had at teaching in my life. Second year got better. This is now the fourth generation. I'll tell you what, it's the best year I've ever had. And with these two, and then seeing what the best was, I expect next year to be even better. Anything you guys want to add or say? I don't know why they're so
I
scared.
have a question for them. How do you think that your role in this class has prepared you for the workload?
T, answer that. You're answering that. I want you to tell, here's a 17-year-old girl, and ask her what she is doing right now, because that's the answer to it.
So currently with my certifications and my training for Ford and doing like working on live cars and knowing how to fix and repair them, with those certifications I did apply to O'Reilly's, and because of my application, my manager and district manager had told me that it was an outstanding one, and I had to take 4 different interviews to get my position. And currently I am only just a parts specialist until I turn 18, and I'll be promoted to an assistant manager for only working there for 2 months.
We talk about science, we talk about data. There's proof, there's the data. Does this program work? Absolutely. Do these theories have practical application? Make your own judgment. Bottom line is, we can turn CTE into something that this state's never seen. But it takes not just all of us as teachers, it takes districts, it takes boards, and it takes administration to get